I keep it G like a G is supposed to. I'm from the old school, no one comes close to. Post it up and I do what I want to. Post it up and I do what I want to. I keep it G like a G is supposed to. I'm from the old school, no one comes close to. Post it up and I do what I want to. Post it up and I do what I want to. I keep it true and I mean every last word. I was fooled by the truth, real gangsters. White tee creased up with a strap too. I'm from the bottom where we earn all our tattoos. Or you stab it when you living just like I do. Air is up and you know we keep it all blue. I keep it loony and I don't mean like cartoons. They talk brave till they hear that click clack boom. It is what it is, we do what them G's do. Celebrate so we hotbox the whole room. Fuck you boy, proud of my home rules. Loyalty, I stay true to that one rule. Never fake it, catch me posted with my gang be.
We're now watching M.O.D Entertainment.
What up, G Life? This right here is LA County, Los Angeles, City of Angels. What angels? I have no idea because ain't nothing but demons around this bitch. That's real talk. Now, obviously, LA County, Southern California is known for its, Crips, Bloods, Southern, Hispanics. And around here, most of the colors that people see is either blue or red. Crips being blue, Bloods being red, Southern homies sporting blue and red. But I was asked, do homies sport other colors? And yes, they do. And one of the colors that, people always wondered and asked is, does anybody sport the color purple? And actually, yes, there is several barrios that sport the color purple. There is several gangs that do wear color purple. It's not just blue and red. There is other colors involved. And today we'll be covering all the neighborhoods that use the purple rag. You know what I mean? All the purple gangs, that use the purple bandana. So with no further ado, let's get into it. And now to find the first neighborhood on the list, we actually have to be making our way to the very infamous Watts area. You know what I mean? Watts up to all the homies holding it down in Watts. Watts is a very notorious area, obviously infamous for the riots, rappers that put it on the map for them. One of Los Angeles' most dangerous areas because of all the madness, gang violence, shootings, murders, etc. It be going down in Watts, homie. You know what I mean? Is no joke. It's the slums down here. Low poverty, ain't no work, police violence. Shit, man, it definitely be cracking right here in Watts, homie. You don't want to be caught slipping after dark because it'll be a wrap. Now, to be more specific, we will be heading to the very infamous, notorious Jordan House Down projects, bro. The Jordan Downs is a project unit set right here in Watts. One of its most infamous projects, well known, recognized for all the amount of violence that has been committed within this area. Shit, man. Shit be going down in the Jordan Downs. You know what I mean? Now, this is home to the very infamous purple ragging homeboys, which is known as the Barrio Southside Grape Street or Watts Barrio Grape. Watts Barrio Grape is a barrio that has been established within this area roughly around the 60s to 70s when this neighborhood was established within these areas. Now, this area, when it first started, it started off as a mixed neighborhood. It was a mix of blacks and Hispanics. So it wasn't that Hispanics and then they recruited blacks. And no, it was started by a mixture of both groups. Blacks and Hispanics started this group because blacks and Hispanics have a good relationship, at least within this area, where the projects is at. They have always got along. They're being raised in the same area, same struggle, so... they could relate to each other, so they started up a neighborhood. And it wasn't until some of their homies started getting arrested, by homies I mean their, Mexican homies started getting arrested, and then with all the politics that happened in there, and, and et cetera, et cetera, et cetera, this neighborhood, aligned itself with the homeboys and started writing Southside Grape, 1-3. So the black individuals who belong to this neighborhood, really didn't see, eye to eye with that, with going down that way. So they broke off to start their own neighborhood, which was known as the Grape Street Watts Cribs. You know what I mean? So they broke off, but they always kept a good relationship. So there was no there was no ill behaviors between the two. Like they understood, you know what I mean? Because they were homeboys. Like I said, I mean, they grew up together. They knew each other since forever. They had each other's backs. I mean, like all of that shit doesn't go down the drain or whatever. You know what I mean? So they kept a good bond and relationship, even though like in other areas of roughly around this area, probably Hispanics and blacks didn't have a good relationship. These guys always maintained because, like I said, they were doggy dogs. You know what I'm saying? So that shit don't go away. So they always kept a good relationship. Plus, they had the same enemies. You know what I mean? Because they beef it with almost everybody around this area. You got the Hickories, you got the Sasa, you got the Florence, you got the Ivies, you got the Fruitown Mafia Crips, who's just right there. And they be going down with them, homie. You know what I mean? This should be cracking. So it was more beneficial for them to like we have so many enemies around us, especially with large groups like Florence and stuff like that. It would be more beneficial for them to get along instead of having another now enemy, closer, to them. It just would have been suicide. So since no one liked neither group, it was like, they kept a good bond, to their barrios. But that is the original name. It was Watts Barrio Grape. That's how it's always been. And then they changed it to Southside Grape Street, 1-3. But then, when the other group started their neighborhood, they just referred back to, Watts Barrio Grape. Because, in this neighborhood, obviously, it has several cliques, from the gangster locals to, the TRS to the Winos and all of that, you know what I mean? So they have several cliques to them because they are a large gang, because of the projects, more new members just keep coming because the territory is vast, you know what I mean? Throughout the whole entire project sets, because these are big project sets, throughout Wilmington and 105th, shit, all the way to 95th. So that'll be 95th to 105th, and, down Alameda. And obviously, throughout, Tweedy, 97th, everything else, 103rd. But obviously, the home domain, the original birthplace was on Grape Street, right there. You know what I mean? What would be like Grape and like 103, you know what I mean? Or Grape and 105th, however you want to see it, was their main domain. And that is where, that was their birthplace and where they have held it down ever since, for their neighborhood. Obviously in a few hundred members to them, and they have always been purple raggers, obviously because of the the grape in the title. That's the reason why they always were purple raggers, so people could say and clown however they want. It doesn't change the fact these guys will get it on and cracking, homie. You know what I mean? Like I said, colors don't mean shit, homie. They'll fill your cap. That's the real talk. And this is home to the rapper Purple Demon. Go check out his music. You can check out his music right here on YouTube. Homie is a very talented individual, and this is his Barrio Jose, what he holds it down for him and puts it on the map. But that's what's up with the Watts Barrio Grape right there. And now, as we remain right here in the Jordan House Down projects, obviously, we can't talk about one without talking about the other because they are glued to the hip. You know what I mean? Because of their upbringing when they were first formed, which is the Grape Street Watts Crips. You know what I mean? Because even though people, are familiar with Blue Rags being for Crips, you have, such sets as, like, for example, right here, the Grape Streets, who use the color purple, So even themselves have Crip sets that use different colors, not just like, southern neighborhoods that use, different colors than blue. You also have Crips that use different colors than blue as well. And the Grape Street Watts Crips, they are the largest black neighborhood within this area, second biggest gang in Watts in general. They're that deep. Overall, I would have to say that the Grape Street Crips became larger than the Watts Barrio Grape when they broke off. You know what I mean? When the two gangs separated but kept a good relationship. The Grape Street Crips it got large. It blew up in numbers because the Grape Street Crips are in the thousands in members, because people have to keep it in mind that they're just not located here in Watts. The Grape Street Crips are also located in New York, also located in Memphis, where they have a tight hood over there, bro. Like, they have that shit sewed up. They have it on lockdown. They be doing real shit, homie. You know what I mean? The Grape Street Cribs ain't no joke. So they're already known nationwide. So just not located here in Watts, but their expansion has spread and touched other locations in the United States. You know what I mean? So they are larger than their Hispanic counterpart. You know what I mean? When the broke up happened. Plus, at the time, Watts did have more African Americans in it than they did Hispanics. You know what I mean? Now, there is a common misconception that all the blacks went to the Crips and all the Hispanics went to the Watts Barrio, when that's not true. Some blacks, Watts Barrio Grape does have black members in it, and Grape Street Cribs have Hispanics in it. What happens when the split off happens, depending who you were tight with, who were your road dogs, who were your doggy dogs, you know what I mean? So when the split happened, if this black, had a tighter relationship with the Hispanic members or vice versa, then that's who they were going to align themselves with. So not all the black members went to the Cribs side and not all the Hispanics went to the Watts Barrio Grape, you know what I mean? That's not how it happened. Both gangs are mixed still, with Watts Barrio Grape still having black members and the Grape Street Cribs having Hispanic members in them. That is just how it is, the relationship right there within this area, you know what I mean? Even though they do feud with other Hispanic gangs, you know what I mean? Because they do feud with like the Colonial Watts, they feud with like Florence, and neighborhoods like that around them. They do have, tight relationship like with the Watts Barrio Grape. So it's not, like I've always said, it's never a racial thing, bro. It's a gangbanging thing. But people that are just looking from the outside in, they don't really know, so they could only go based on what they're seeing, you know what I mean? Because they don't know this life. So that's why to them it's coming off racial when you see Hispanics getting down with blacks. They think it's some kind of race issue that's going on, when in reality it's some gangbanging shit, you know what I mean? But, the media's going to want to stir it up because it's a lot more easier to hold people accountable or see them in a type of lighting when they paint them as racist, you know what I mean? It's a lot more easier to get the public to hate these individuals. Like I said, they always have agendas. You know what I mean? They try to say that the gangs like to deceive and everything like that. And although these individuals are not saints, I mean, they are doing the same. They like to manipulate and deceive as well. You know what I mean? And like I said, you get nothing good out of lying or trying to trick, your citizens, but it is what it is. But the Grape Street Cribs continue to still be, a force to be reckoned with right here. Like I said, they have a strong hold on their hood, and when they broke off to be their own, individual neighborhood, they had changed it to the Watts Baby Lokes. You know what I mean? So that's why you see the WB, L. That's what it stands for, Watts Baby Lokes. That was their clique, because they have a lot of cliques. They have the squads, the towns, the parole squad, and the 90s, 97, 95th, 103rd, 107th. They got all kinds of cliques because, like I said, it's a large neighborhood. You know what I mean? Because the more older generation still hold it down on 103rd, the original birthplace spot, whatever. The more younger individuals tend to be in the 90s. You know what I mean? Like 97, 95th. Like throughout that side. And while some still use the phrase Watts Barrio Grape, like their OGs and the originals, the younger, more generation, tend to use the Watts Baby Lokes or the Grape Street Cribs, you know what I mean? But sometimes when you do see the Watts Barrio Grape and it's referring to the Crips one, is because of the original name, ties, and all of that, you know what I mean? But that's what's up with the Grape Street Crips right there, another purple rag gang within this area. Now, to find the next neighborhood on the list, another purple, ragging homeboy neighborhood. For this one, we actually had to slide on through to the West LA, infamous, for its gangs. It's gang infested, with such well-known sets like Diamond Street, Echo Park, Big Top Locals, all these barrios, you know what I mean? That reside on the West. It definitely be chaotic right here. And this is where we can find one of these purple rag homeboy neighborhoods, which is known as the Barrio HHS. HHS translating to Barrio Headhunters. Barrio Headhunters is already a neighborhood that has been well established right here in the West since the 70s that it was established. And yes, they are a purple rag neighborhood. Now, why are they a purple rag neighborhood? When they first started, they were a football team, right? Because the youths back then, they had the programs. They each would have their football teams. The kids in the block had their own football teams, and they would play other football teams. You know what I mean? Other group of kids that had teams. Roughly around the 80s, when these football teams transition into becoming neighborhoods, kind of like you've seen the wave of tagging crews that transition into neighborhoods as well. Same thing happened here. Where these football teams, established themselves as neighborhoods, Headhunters being one of them. And when they were established as a football team, their colors were purple and gold, the color of the Lakers, obviously, coming from the west of Los Angeles right there, you know what I mean? Hey, we all Laker fans over here, you know what I'm saying? So, because they pay homage, homie. They pay homage. So that's the reason why they chose that color, and they chose the purple rag, you know what I mean? For the, to pay homage, and so that's why you see their purple Laker jerseys, purple bandanas, you know what I mean? They even wear the Vikings gear as well. That is because that is their colors. Yeah, sure. Do they use blue? Yeah, they just like any other hood's gonna use blue, even though they have their colors to their barrio. But you see them often not with purple than blue, And their territory was everything that's from First Street to Glendale. Their territory extends all the way to Court Street and all the way to Toluca Street. Everything that's in the middle is considered their barrio right there. Really close to Diamond, you know what I mean? Neighborhood, you know what I mean? Close to the National Park as well. Close to the tunnel, the very infamous tunnel. You find all the art, graffiti, and everything that was there. And the heart of their hood, their domain, their dojo was on Douglas Street. Douglas Street that's where it went down, Douglas and Colton Street, man, bro. Because everyone that's familiar with the area know that there's a bunch of apartments just jam-packed. And these apartments, had little pathways that led up to the roofs where they were able to chill, do their thing, see if enemies are coming up and everything. Because Headhunters, although it started off as a small gang, it multiplied, through the years. And it has hundreds of members, up to more than 400 members to them. Because they're not just located in the west of LA. They're located in Fontana, Whittier, Orange County. You know what I mean? You just got them, in different locations, well established, they planted their flags, even though individuals may not like it and they're going to want to say whatever they're going to want to say. My boy, I could only come and spit the facts, you know what I mean? Hate it or love it, it doesn't change it, you know what I mean? I could only call it for how it is. They are established in these locations. They did plant their flags and they continue to still represent theirs and hold it down for the Headhunters, you know what I mean? And they do have several clicas to their barrio as well, you know what I mean? So yeah, this is a well-established neighborhood, you know what I mean? I got homies out of this barrio too, you know what I mean? And shout out to the homie Termite out of Headhunters, putting it down for that M.O.D. Check out his music, you know what I mean? His flows right here. That's the homie right there with it. And yeah, they definitely be holding it down right there for the Westside Headhunters and still continue to put theirs on the map, another purple ragging the homeboy barrio. Now, to find the next purple ragging neighborhoods, we have to slide on through to the area that is known as East LA, East Los Angeles. Now, East Los Angeles is home to one of these purple rag homeboy neighborhoods. It is the first area of East LA if you're coming from the Boyle Heights area, or it is the last area if you're leaving East LA and entering Boyle Heights. It's on the border. And it is known as the Barrio LPV. Barrio LPV translating to Barrio Laguna Park Vikings. Now, often do I hear people say, hey, Shadow, but where is there a Laguna Park, bro? I don't see no Laguna Park right here in this area. Where's that park at? Well, Laguna Park is actually referring to Ruben Salazar Park. The Salazar Park. Now, the reason why this barrio is called Laguna Park Vikings is because before it was Ruben Salazar Park, it used to be called Laguna Park, right? And then they made a change to the name of the park when a journalist got killed right there. His name was Ruben Salazar, so that's in his honor they named the park after him. And not only that, but this was an attempt, hoping that the gang will fall apart if they change the name of the park, like they would just dismantle, you know. But no, that didn't work. They still kept the same name and they still maintained right there. Now, Laguna Park Vikings is already an old established barrio right here, been here since the 60s, 70s, you know what I mean? And yes, it started off as a football team. That is where the Vikings part comes from. They were known as the Vikings. And when all these barrios transitioned into, when all these football teams transitioned into barrios, they were one of the ones that transitioned along with it. Now, the reason why they're purple raggers, it doesn't take a genius for this, is because obviously the Vikings, you know what I mean. So they adopted the Minnesota Vikings, apparel, the whole concept behind of it, because they were known as the Vikings, you know what I mean. So they would wear the Vikings jersey, that way, people could, knew where they were from. And now, the Laguna Park Vikings right here, Salazar Park, anybody that's around the area or familiar with the area will tell you that this area is no joke, bro. This should be going down. This area has made news a lot of times. People will tell you that you don't want to be caught slipping, or you don't even want to go to the park after dark, bro. That's real talk. Because going to the park after dark will get you sparked. You know what I mean? That's real talk, dog. You'll get traced in chalk. No lie. And their vital is everything that's from Indiana Street to Whittier Boulevard. Their territory still extends all the way to Downey Road and to where the freeway is at. Everything in the middle is considered their barrio. So throughout the Salazar Park and throughout the back streets of Salazar Park, throughout Alma, throughout Dittman, obviously Dittman being it'd be going down on Dittman, on Denison Street, on Rowan, on Townsend, on what I mean, like this should be cracking, dog, all the way to Gage, to Hibbert Avenue, to all of that, bro. It's what's considered the Laguna Park Vikings. So not just the Salazar Park, but the area and the back streets around the parque. And from what I was told, that this fighter was roughly a few hundred members to them. So yes, they're not like a small, time gang. You know what I mean? Nah, these guys handle business, with several clicas, from the cut downs to all kinds of, clicas to their barrio. You know what I mean? And going at it with the surrounding neighborhood, because if anyone that's familiar with the area will tell you that there is no breathing room right here, bro. You have neighborhoods all over the goddamn place, homie. Shit be chaotic around this area. But the Laguna Park Vikings have maintained right there and continue to still maintain, and keep that shit active, bro. That shit be no joke, Shout out to my homies out of the LPV. Shout out to Little Trouble. Shout out to Spider. You already know my boy. Shout out to Hayes. Shout out to all the Laguna Park Vikings that be holding it down right there, representing for theirs.
Entertainment. Make sure you subscribe.